It's one of those great moments where you could jump across it earlier, but you can't jump across it now because we gave you a gadget.
I see. Gadget!
Oh, and so we talked about this briefly earlier, this idea that Batman won't kill him and that Batman won't kill the Joker. And while we're on the topic of optimism, I read a couple weeks ago, or maybe longer than that, someone wrote this article about why hasn't Gotham killed the Joker kind of thing. And it's... I'm not sure why I'm segueing into this now versus in one of the other times we'll deal with the Joker later on in the game. But it's always been something kind of stuck in my mind as why exactly.
Well, I think the way that they address it, at least in sort of the dark 80s times, has always been that execution, it's because Gotham is technically in New York State.
Yeah.
And New York State, I believe, has a moratorium on the death penalty.
I thought they brought it back, but I might be thinking of just Oz doing things for shock value.
No, I think you may be right. I've been watching a lot of SVU.
Yeah.
I'm totally trapped.
It's possible. Silly villains think there wasn't a way to get to you.
I really like that guy who looks like he's had, I don't understand how, it's like a lobotomy, but his whole head was taken off.
Yeah, and they've stapled it back on.
It's a little confusing.
That goes with I don't quite get some of the character designs for this game. They're good character designs, but...
Oh, hey, Fred.
What the hell is someone thinking?
Joker said we'd be more powerful than the Bats. We've got the formula.
Oh, wait, he has a collar.
Yep.
Take it outside City Hall.
Remember when I cleared this room earlier and I'm now stuck backtracking through it? Welcome to an annoyance I have with this game, which was, I don't really need to do this room, but they put it back in as a gameplay mechanic, so we gotta.
It's cool, we got this. We got this, guys. But yeah, the thing that's interesting to me about Big Daddy is that they take sort of the Punisher mythos and apply it to the Batman and Robin tactic, which is why, we talked about Jason Todd a while ago, and he is my favorite Robin. I'm sorry. I love Dick Grayson, I do, but I love Jason Todd more. I should say former Robin, because he's not a good Robin. But I love the Red Hood as a character. I think he is a really great balance for all of them, for the other Robins.
He's a realer Robin, if that makes sense.
He's a guy who had horrible things done to him, and as a result, has decided to fix the world in a less morally rigid way than Batman has.
Ooh, they can see me.
They can see you.
That's new. When's that happening?
I think they tracked you, so you just need to bounce around.
But he disappeared.
Because I'm really
I have
dumb.
so much armor at this point, it barely matters. That's the sad part.
But because the interesting thing about Kick-Ass is really the original Kick-Ass is the balance between Dave, Kick-Ass, and Hit Girl and Big Daddy, because he's just sort of in it to do the right thing.
Be a superhero, yeah.
Be a superhero. And Big Daddy and Hit Girl take this shit really seriously.
Well, and we touched on it briefly earlier. The comics and the movie have drastically different content that's worth talking about to a certain extent. So things people might know about the story of Big Daddy and Hit Girl's origin story from the movie is a lie, actually, that Big Daddy told Hit Girl to make her into not a normal little girl kind of thing, which I think is still a little brilliant. I'm sorry for spoiling that if you haven't read the comic yet, but I enjoyed how in the story it's this horribly cliched origin story for a superhero. In the comic, it's, no, I just kind of made that up.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually, Batman has also been known to lie to his charges before.
Really? Batman, the staple of modern parenting and stability.
Yep. Because one of the funny things is that I've talked about how much I love Cass Kane.
Yeah.
And there's a very interesting moment when Cass Kane is basically doing the exact same search for her mother that Jason Todd did, in the early 90s. And Batman has to sort of clarify, I'm not lying to you. I genuinely don't know. And everybody's like, but you're Batman. You've got to know. You're Batman. And that's true. He's Batman. He should know.
He does seem to know things.
He's the guy who has all the secrets. He's the guy who's always prepared. He put his cave on Arkham Island just in case this happened, because he's a paranoid motherfucker. So
I can
paranoid.
invert takedown from that far up, really?
Nailed it. I like that these guys are actually concerned about each other. It makes me feel slightly bad for them.
Yeah. Not bad enough, though.
It's true. But I think something that Kick-Ass does really, really well that DC, because the thing, I don't know about you, Charlie, but the difference for me in terms of DC versus Marvel versus sort of independent structured comics.
That's Vertigo, if I remember correctly. I think is Kick-Ass.
Is Kick-Ass, yeah.
It's gory as hell.
Yeah. I knew it was an independent imprint. I didn't know which one.
I think it's Vertigo. And Miller doesn't do straight up independence with any frequency. He's something tied to someone big still.
I was gonna say I avoid him like the plague sometimes
know,
because he's rapey.
I try not to read him because he pissed me off the day he said he found a different way to read The Killing Joke, and that made it better. I don't know about you, but I just found that very egotistic of him.
Oh, gotta say, the result's a little different. Shall I give her another? I think she wants it.
Speaking of rapey,
Yeah.
Hey, dear. I was hoping for a corny good killer plan, but you don't always get what you want, do you?
oh no, Ivy. Oh dear. Oh look, it's an Arkham thing.
These will actually... we'll skip this too, if I can get out of it.
Like a mad dog. For what felt like days,
Am I supposed to go fight her now?
cured his boasts. He took pleasure recounting his actions, cataloguing his depraved crimes. What should have been revenge turned to pity. This poor dog needed my help.
Remember we said his name was Mad Dog? But
How do I go
now I just want to know how he thinks he wants to read The Killing Joke.
Well, he's like, I think he took credit for the idea of like, oh, Batman totally kills Joker at the end, and
He decided he was the first person
he
to figure
decided
that
he was the
out.
first person to come to that realization
Oh,
on
dear.
it,
Oh,
and it was just
dear.
like, God, no. Everyone initially has that reaction, unless you're me and you only read it because Crazy Alan Moore does a whole article going, Batman doesn't kill the Joker at the end. I'm Alan Moore. Which, admittedly,
I'm Alan Moore, and let me clarify for you what my incredibly complex piece of art means.
You have to understand, I want everything if I could get like every part of my life reviewed by Alan Moore, crazy-haired, reclusive, I hate everything that comes with my brilliant works of art, Alan Moore, I kind of would, because his rage at his own success as an artist entertains me in the weirdest way possible.
Oh, Ivy.
Yeah.
Except the plants are mutating.
What's that? Oh dear.
That pod
Yeah, the plants are now pretty dangerous.
was to the ones Ivy used to attack Gotham last year. They're deadly.
Ah,
And easily dealt with.
good job, team.
Yeah. No, it's... I occasionally will read things either because Alan Moore gets mad at them or because Alan Moore wrote them for the same reason with some frequency.
He's a really interesting guy. Oh,
Like I said.
I like that he sees you coming. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. You can avoid them. Yeah, you can. They don't always go off. Anyways, my love of Alan Moore being crazy aside.
Yes, he's sort of like George R. Martin in a way. He's sort of his engagement with the fan base is
Well,
a
George
little
R. R.
strange.
Martin's like antagonistic. Alan Moore's kind of like, stop reading my stuff.
And you're like, but you're really smart, Alan. We care about you. And he's
But
like, no.
We worry about you, Alan. Let me be reclusive. Stop being a good writer then, Alan.
He is very Salinger. It's kind of adorable.
I want you to read my things after I'm dead.
Oh, Alan. No, he's
I apologize to Alan Moore if he ever watches that. and
you're a
takes
treasure,
offense to it.
Alan, and we love you.
Alan Moore, I
I'm
only love you as
sorry.
much because you're crazy.
He's a lovely dove.
He is.
Going to this place again.
And because it's Anthroplayogy, he did actually, in fact, voice himself on an episode of Simpsons where he was playing crazy Alan Moore. He is aware that people love him for being crazy, crazy, crazy Alan Moore.
So are we still looking for cash right now? Just
Yes.
for everybody at home? And me, because I'm dumb?
Yep. We are still looking for cash.
Cool. Yeah, I'm thinking a lot about Big Daddy lately just because I think the thing about Bats that makes him more interesting to me is that this rigid moral code is, it's very crippling for him. It's really complicated and stressful, and that's, sort of where the insanity option comes in.
Oh yeah,
It's like
no.
he's a man who needs limits, really. And I think in some ways it's a lot better to write a character that needs those limits than writing the character that doesn't have them.
No, I think that's absolutely true.
It's why I'm not the biggest fan of Deadpool, to be honest.
Oh, you don't enjoy the merc with a mouth who just says everything he feels like?
I enjoy the merc with the mouth aspect. I just think that when you have a character,
Too much?
it's too much for me. Like I'm more interested in the push pull, and that's a narrative preference.
No, that's a fair reaction to Deadpool. I have been saying this a lot during this playthrough. I enjoy things in situation, and yeah, Deadpool can be too much occasionally. And I love Deadpool. He's one of my favorite, we're not sure what the hell to do with him, Marvel characters, if that makes any sense.
Well, I love how he's kind of like,
I just love how these guys are totally okay with this.
you got to talk to Aaron about where to find Killer Croc, man.
What's the deal with the plants?
It's complicated.
Let me guess. Poison Ivy. She teamed up with Joker.
All that matters is that I can stop the plants taking over the island, but
There's always a but, isn't there?
where do you keep Killer Croc?
Yep.
I found a door in the sewers, but it's sealed shut.
That monster's got his own special cell. It's right below the transfer room back in intensive treatment. Elevator goes right down to an old sewer. You just drop meat down there every day or so and try to forget about it. It's locked off. Get in without the warden's permission. He has the codes.
Thanks, Cash. Stay here and do not go near the plants. They'll kill you.
What the hell are these things?
Finally, someone asking the very important question.
Don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
It's plants. I don't know what it is about seeing large plants, but all I can think of is Guillermo del Toro,
Yeah.
who I love so
Yeah.
much, so much.
Never thought
But yeah, I think one of the big sort of
someone apart.
is that DC characters, they take themselves more seriously than Marvel
Yeah.
characters do. And I think what's interesting to me about, Batman is that he's not like Clark or Diana. He doesn't, he's not an inherently good person. And I think that's the narrative that's really interesting to me about him, is that he knows that if he really let stuff get bad, it would be really bad. Really bad.
Okay, how do I get out of this place again? Completely. Oh,
There you go.
yeah.
Good job, team. Crawling through grates like Batman.
It's already found that one.
Yep.
Also, and maybe this is why I get so pissed off with Poison Ivy in this version of the game, as opposed to her normally. But I don't think of Poison Ivy as I'm going to team up with the Joker, and in this game, she absolutely does. Like, she has distinct goals, and in this one it's kind of like, oh, he gave me an awesome drug, I'm cool with him now. I don't know. It's always it felt in this way.
I think the thing to remember about Ivy, and I want to save some stuff before we meet her.
No, sure.
Is that she is always? I mean, you said she hates men. She hates humans. She really does dislike humans very, very intensely, because they hurt plants. Because she's an eco-terrorist. She's like those PETA people who are like, humans are horrible. Like, they should all die.
It's
like,
surprising how often PETA actually comes up on the channel. They came up in EDF.
Yeah, PETA's weird. PETA's really weird. Just saying.
Yeah. Ooh. Right, these guys. Hell, I'll fight them. Come to me, you delicious pieces of XP.
Oh, he tased you, bro.
Not for long, he won't be. We talked about briefly. I was talking about how this actually used to be a DDR kind of rhythm game based system. I have always enjoyed, and it's been replicated a couple times not well, the origin of the combat system. I don't think it's aged especially well because people have made similar versions and done it better. But at the time, the Batman
really
combat
innovative,
engine was amazingly well done. It was the first time they actually managed to make a superhero fighting game or fighting system that actually felt like a superhero, if that makes any sense. And it's very simple, which is one of the reasons Lil can actually do it, but it feels very rewarding.
Whoa. That was uncalled for.
Maybe a little bit.
That was a little bit uncalled for.
But part of why you enjoy it is the very simple but rewarding aspect of it.
Well, I think the thing that's interesting, though, is that it doesn't...
To bypass the security.
There was a sniper up on the roof. He got there somehow. I'll find a way.
Sniper. What I find impressive about it is that it doesn't actually... Like, button mashing will ruin your combo.
Yeah.
I always appreciate games that have combat systems where button mashing does not actually benefit you.
Oh, sure.
Because, again, I will continue to try to make Charlie play Kingdom Hearts on this channel.
Never happening.
But it is, games for kids, Lego Batman, like, there are games that are about button mashing, and that's okay. That happens. It totally happens. But it is a game that's sort of about feeling the natural rhythm of a fight. And I think that's the thing, is that anybody who's actually done martial arts knows that it's not so much a system of like, oh wait, now I need to hit square and circle and then triangle twice. Like, because combos are a thing. Combos are as old as video games.
And they're actually a real thing in real life, believe it or not.
Yeah. But I think the thing is that it doesn't become about hitting it quickly. It becomes about hitting it at the right time.
Yeah.
And that's what this game did really, really well.
Can I grip claw over to that? I don't think so. Yes, I can.
Nailed it.
So...
Really?
You may have just noticed me having the moment of, can I do this? And we've talked about this in a couple, actually hour ones, which maybe you'll watch, maybe you'll watch this, maybe you haven't. I hate when games have inconsistent mechanics, and that was one of my ongoing complaints with this game, was that for some reason I could do things like that long bat zipline move there, and I could never do one that long ever again in the rest of the game. Didn't ruin the game for me, obviously, but it was kind of a really, I could do it that far once.
It's because plot.
Yeah.
Ivy's plants are taking hold. I've got to stop them before the entire island is under her control.
Said matter-of-factly.
We really need to just let Ivy have her own, like, island of plants. She'd be quite happy.
I've been very confused why no one's actually tried doing that, where it's like, how to deal with Ivy? Put her on an island. What type of island? Like a tropical one that's just surrounded for a couple of miles by water. What type of water? Salt water. The type that kills plants. I don't think she can do her tricks with sea vegetation, can she?
I think that's pretty flexible. And that's the thing, is that, again, only the world is enough.